Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on your location. Welcome to this webinar where we will show how to organize and take care of distributed project and how to share information between the project parties and introduce you to the way how Catmatic is providing a robust platform for this purpose. Our world is changing all the time, and what has become now normal already is that the projects are managed distributed. So there is no need for collecting people on the same roof and in the same very network and location for managing project work, design work efficiently. Catmatic is providing a robust platform how to distribute the project work according to different locations by master and replica functionality. The tool managing that is CoDesigner. Another platform for managing this kind of working method is to use eShare, which is our platform for information view and share. We will both show you how to utilize them in the next scenario, what we have set up for this purpose. So let's go to the practical setup. So we have a scenario here where we have a Catmatic master database located in the main office. And this company has a couple of replica databases out which are connected to this master database and updating each other frequently and transferring design changes and documentation and drawings between the replica databases. We have also Catmatic eShare for information share and project reviews. And then we have a couple persons here who are involved in this scenario. So in replica 1 sits George. He is a PNID user and 3D user. In the main office is sitting Peter, the manager, who is using only eShare for reviews and organizing different kind of tasks for the project. In replica 2 on site sits Dwayne, and he is a 3D designer. And this will be the setup for the scenario and some practical things what we are going to show you next. My name is Jim Nyrus. I'm a business development manager in Catmatic, and I will guide you through this presentation. Next, we will go to a set of videos which will in practice show how the design tools are look like, what kind of tools we are going to use for this distributed design and information sharing, and also review for eShare, how it can be utilized in the Peter here in main office opening eShare. He navigates in the eShare tool around, take a look at the situation and notice one task he wants to get his staff to do. So viewing the model, navigating in 3D, he creates a markup to define a task for the designers. Here he wants to have a bypass between two pipelines here. And he decides to share this work to George. Why to George? It's obviously that Julia Roberts and Bruce Willis are on vacation, so George Clooney got this job. It defines here a markup comment for the task, defining that one to be shared and with all the people, but assigned to George Clooney. Now, eShare is a platform kind of web service, and you can provide a global access to view the model, drawings, and data attached to eShare. And it is a perfect tool for project collaboration and reviewing the status of the project or model or any kind of task where you need to share information. Now, Peter wants to make it absolutely sure that the bypass will be in the correct place, so he releases his internal Rembrandt and starts to create a symbol there so that George will not miss the place where Peter wants that bypass to be located. Now the artistical work is done and Peter saves the markup. Then he also reviews some documentation. Okay, he clicked the pipeline and get a direct access to PNID where this pipeline appears. The green ones means here that they can be found in the 3D model. He as well opens a layout drawing where this pipeline is located, can be seen, and reviews those ones and notice that of course these shall be updated as well. So he could click any of those green symbols, green lines there, and would find a respective component in the 3D model as well. But now he is happy with this one. And now it is time for George to blend in here. George opens eShare as he does every morning and check up the markups. He could see different markups, but there's one specific which is assigned for George. He starts his day by reviewing the markup and investigating the situation in a 3D model. Okay, there is this PNID. Yes, this I need to change things, George. And next, George opens Catmatic Diagram, the tool for PNIDs. And finds the PNID, what he identified already from the eShare. As you see, it's owned by the root server. So that means the master database. So he has to request the ownership from the master database to his replica database first, and that is given. And when that is given, he can check out the diagram to be edited. And now he defines that he will create a new revision of this diagram, and the reason for the revision he writes here. And that will appear in the document revision table later. And now the diagram is available for George to edit, but no one else could now in the whole project environment edit the diagram. Somebody could open it for review, but George is the only person who can edit it right now. And he adds the bypass line there, changes the pipeline codes for each line, and tries to find from the symbol library a suitable symbol for the valve which should be located there. And here it is. Very good. And locate that to pipeline. This webinar is not supposed to be demonstrating how to use our design tools, more how to use them in this distributed design case. But at the same time, you can see how these design tools look like. And as usually, these labels, for example, when you change the pipeline code, the labels are changing according the new name or code. And each object, is it a pipeline or is it a valve or any kind of object in the 3D, in the PNID, has a database card behind. So Catmatic Diagram is not only a drafting tool, it's a database driven tool. It is connected to the 3D also by topology. And if already in the PNID, the designer here is choosing which piping specification will be used. And this chosen piping specification will guide the materials used for these pipelines and objects in the 3D model as well. When he added the position ID, it was updated to the label as well. And now George is more or less happy with the changes he has done. Updated the integration to the 3D, and is very happy with this one. And now he checked the diagram in, which means that the diagram is now owned by the replica database, which is called process L here. When he says publish check it in diagram, this means that the new revision of the diagram goes to the eShare. And relinquish ownership meant that now the ownership of this PNID diagram is in the master database, and it is available for any other user in any other replica databases. This is now eShare, which George has opened. Now he updates the document and gets the latest revision of this PNID, and now you see the changes. The label of the valve here is red because you don't have that object in the 3D model yet, which George is now looking here. So he is happy now with the published diagram. So this was perfectly done here by George. But then he noticed that, okay, I need also to inform my friend that this change must be done also in the 3D model. So he opens the diagram again and creates a work request. Work request tool is a kind of internal messaging system inside Catmatic design system. And it is more than just a messaging. You can attach object information to those ones, assign the work request. So here George is telling to someone that a bypass is needed in Plant Modeler, and assigns that to Dwayne Johnson to be done. And he also picks up the object to this work request, so it will be very sure for Dwayne what object must be managed when he fulfills this work request. Obviously, George relies on Dwayne Johnson to be steady as a rock in these kind of work requests. And then checking in the diagram and relinquish it to the master database. So in case someone else in the whole project setup environment would like to edit, so then the diagram is ready to be used. And still, just took a look, and the revision field is filled automatically correct, and now he has done his work. Now next is Dwayne starts to work. So he has some 3D modeling to be done and drawings to be updated, and he opens the Catmatic tool. He could open also the PNID, but that is already taken care of by George, so Dwayne starts the 3D straight away. And not get an announcement that he has one work request assigned to. So he goes to the work request tool and check what is there assigned to me and finds the one work request from diagram user and defines that, hey, please add a bypass here. Dwayne is using different tools here to find out the location. Here he browses the pipeline and locates it there and views, take a look, okay, here I should work. But he is not very sure about the case, so he opens the eShare as well, opens the model, searches for the pipeline, okay, find it, and there is the pipeline he would need to work in the 3D design tool, but here he reviews it in eShare. Finds the PNID, okay, this is how it should look like in the PNID, great. And yes, the valve is red, so it should be placed to the model. Now back to the design and engineering model. He cuts the model so that it will be more convenient to work with the easy tools of the plant modeler. And recognizes the point where the bypass should be created. Now these colors here means that the ownership of these objects are all in the master database. So he's not able to change those or modify those before he gets the ownership on his model area where he is working. Now he requests first the ownership from the master database to the replica database, and next he check out those objects for him. Now the green objects are such ones that he can modify. Only Dwayne can modify these pipes now in the whole project environment and setup. If anybody else in a 3D design tool would try to change the piping here, they would get the announcement that these are owned by Dwayne, so wait for your turn until he releases those ones. Start creating a branch for the bypass using the navigation tools. TPs came there according to the piping specification and a flange. Insulation is according to the insulation specification added to this pipeline, and finds a valve. Valve to be added here, and it was in 104. The information came straight from the PNID, and he only chooses the 3D symbol and the model of the valve. Could change the direction of the hand wheel if wanted, didn't want, and okay. Valve is located. Then the rest of the pipe here. This is just the ordinary piping designer work guided by the information which comes from PNID. Make a branch, TPs, and the installations are there. Looks great, yeah. Updating the information, saving it. And since this is an earlier design, existing design, so he needs to update also isometrics, for example, and the layout drawing. Here he starts with the isometrics, and the symbol shows there that these are broken. Something has been changed after the first release of the isometrics. And he modifies the isometric groups so that the new object will be attached there. And puts also, somebody has left the pipe supports away from the isometric, so he added them at the same time. Creating new versions of the isometrics from these groups. And now when the geometry and the update was sent to the drawings documentation, so he opens the PNID isometric tools and starts to modify the isometric drawings themselves. Using the automatic annotation capabilities, now there's information that those isometrics were both okay, which means that the drawings are reflecting the existing 3D model. And he defines the reason for these revisions here for both ISOs, so that when they are seen as a document in the eShare, so you will find a reason for the new revisions. On the right down corner, so you could see the previews, but he doesn't take a look at those ones. And here comes something interesting as well. So he compares the revision A and B. What are the differences? So in this picture, the red one, what you see in red, is something what was only in the previous revision. What is blue is only in the current revision with the B revision. What is black is something what has not been changed. So as you see here in the 3D view, in the right down corner, in the existing piping was added the T-piece, flange, and the support. So this way the designer can easily track the changes what has been done with the drawings in the Catmatic design applications. He was happy with those ones. Closes the work here. And next one is the layout drawing. In Catmatic 3D design applications, the layout drawings, they are kind of windows to the 3D model. So the drawing itself knows that there has been changes. So here, Dwayne is also creating a new revision and describes the reason as what has been done a couple of times already before. Updating the views to get them to reflect the current situation in a 3D model. Placing new labels automatically so that the valve will get its label. For example, adding a 1 dimension just to make it sure that it will be in the correct place. We speed up this a little bit. Dwayne is not the fastest designer, so we try to help him here. And there is the revision tool, and all the views are updated. So he was happy with this one. And now again this published, which means that the new revision will be published to eShare. And now he relinquished this drawing. So now the drawing itself is a free object in the master database. And if somebody else would like to modify it, could be done. And same thing there. He took a look at the earlier revision and current revision and find the changes within the colors. So there was some blue, which was this new object. Now he takes the work request, which was assigned to him, and gives a comment there that, all right, this has been done now. Yes. Updating and closing the work request. He's happy, but he forgot something, but what might that be? Now he's back in eShare, closes that down. And now back to George. George has as well access to 3D and PNID in the project. And opens the both tools. Opens the PNID, which was related to this project. Finds that now in the 3D model was the valve added and links the data between those ones here. Check the work request situation and see the comments that Dwayne has done his job and he should just check if it's okay. And now since they are reflecting each other 3D and PNID, so George thinks this is okay. And now the work request for this task is closed. But just to be sure, he checked that, okay, everything what is white is in the 3D model, so the new valve is there. So, okay, just a final check. And he exceeds the PNID. But since he is a little bit curious, he opens the 3D tool as well. And gets information that there is something new. Goes there and take a look and hey, there's the new valve and the pipeline. So Dwayne did a great job. But George noticed that Dwayne forgot to release the ownership of the pipe. So if George would like to change this piping, he's not able to do that because Dwayne is the owner. So now he creates a work request for Dwayne to release the objects or relinquish the objects to be free in the master database so that someone else could modify the piping in future if needed. Check in to your database and release the ownership of the objects from the replica database to the master database. Assign that one to Dwayne and to the work request, pick up the objects which are attached or part of this work request. So then it will be easier for Dwayne to act accordingly. And these are the objects which are now attached to this work request. So now he quits that one. And now George is going to eShare. and check that everything looks okay there. So again, take a look at some location predefined to find that one fast, and the 3D model is updated. You saw the valve there, the bypass. Here is the new isometric of the existing pipeline that has been modified. You see the new branch there. The 3D view there is updated. You check the other one. And there is the new branch as well. So now anybody who would like to review this model, status of the model, they will have the latest version of the 3D model and also latest versions of the documentation. And all in integrated mode. With any of those green labels, which could be chosen, so you would find a reflective object in the 3D model. And here is the original markup by Peter. And George here comments that now this has been taken care of. And all these markups will remain in the data ESHA database, so they can be reviewed afterwards, who did what and why, and has all the assigned markups been taken care of, and so on. So it will be kind of part of the project history. And you can review here, so current model, so you have the valve, mixed model, so you see the previous situation, and original was without the valve, so you can see also the earlier status and the current status of the markups. And now the Port Wayne opens the 3D tool plant modeler again, maybe next morning as the first thing. And gets information that there is a work request assigned. That was already closed, so don't need to consider that one, but okay, yeah, need to change the ownership. And here are the objects which were attached to this work request. And he just puts the check-in and relinquish. So then this task is already performed. And now when he gets a change it to colors again. And now when they are orange, it means that ownership is in the replica database. And now when he picks up the same objects and uses the relinquish tool, now they are objects owned by the master database and available for anybody in the project environment to request and check out. And then again to work request information that this has been done, And as the markups in the eShare platform, which will remain there as in that database, the work request will also remain in the Catmatic design tool database. So trace it is possible to trace who did what and when. All right, and that was Dwayne's part here. Now back to the manager, the Peter. He is concerned how things has been proceeding. Is everything okay? And Peter, the top director manager, opens the eShare. That's the only thing he can use, and starts looking for the situation. Now he uses the eShare map here and locates the markup by location in the map and jumps there. He sees that there are comments down there added to the model and so on, but George, everything should be okay. And Peter here just comments there that confirmed and closed. So the task he wanted his staff to do has been now completed, and everything is according what he requested. But just remember that, okay, I need to check the drawings as well. So yeah, layout drawing is okay. Green means can be found in the model. And revision is the B, the new revision, yeah, very good. A revision table has been updated according to the task. And that was that. So thank you for your time and interest. If you have any questions, please write them to the questions tab in the GoToWebinar tool. And I have my dear colleague Marko Kuusela here ready to answer your possible questions.